What's going on, everybody? NBA Talk here. All right, we got Orlando against Washington tonight. Nobody really cares. Washington's trash. That should be a good, easy win for a young Orlando team. We got Cleveland, Atlanta. Once again, that should be a pretty easy win. For Cleveland, Atlanta. That should be a win for Cleveland. That tip-off is 7:30. Atlanta's struggling this year. 7:30, Memphis, Philly. Nobody really cares, honestly. Both teams are trash. I guess Philly fans are hoping their team stays afloat till Embiid gets back. Clippers, Houston. Clippers should handle Houston. Houston's a fun young team with a lot of young talent. The Clippers, I think, 5-5 over their last 10, so they need to string together some good basketball heading towards the playoffs. Chicago, Utah. I don't think too many people really care about that game. Both teams are very mediocre, very similar records. Game of the night, Milwaukee, Golden State. I'll be paying attention to that. Maybe I'll do a reaction. Maybe if Jason does a reaction on Hoops Tonight, maybe I'll check his out. 10 o'clock, Milwaukee, Golden State. I want to see Steph bounce out of the slump he had against Boston and have a good game. I don't think Giannis is going to play, so even though it's a good game, it's not necessarily a true testament of what these two teams can do. Nonetheless, I'm looking forward to it. OKC, Portland. That's a great game. We got OKC 42-19, Portland 17-43. Portland's really been struggling as of late. Should be an easy win for OKC, but you get to watch Shea be Shea. He's a treat to watch every night. SGA taking over the league. And then Sacramento, LA. I guess you got two LA teams battling it out. I'm not an LA fan right now because I'm not a LeBron fan, so hopefully let's light that beam. Beyond that, let's check out Jason's video, and let's do a react to that.
So we had two teams drop out from last week, the Pacers and the Mavs, who both had pretty disastrous weeks. We have two new teams in the list this week, starting with number 10, the Orlando Magic. They've won 6 of their last 7 games, playing some elite defense in that stretch. They're 5-0 in that 7-game span when Paolo Banchero plays. He's averaging 24 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists on 52% from the field and 42% from 3. I'll be a little bit of an easier stretch of their schedule, but a nice little run from the Magic. Number 9, the Miami Heat. They're 10-3 in their last 13 games. That is the second best record in the league in that span, just behind Boston. They have the second best defense in the league over that span. And then Jimmy Butler is starting to look like playoff Jimmy again. Since he came back from his injury on January 15th, he's averaging 23 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists on, check this, 57% from the field and 56% from 3. So Jimmy Butler peaking at the right time, and the Heat starting to gain some steam. Number 8, the Cleveland Cavaliers are starting to slip a little bit. They're just 4-5 in their last 9 games. They needed a wild, all-time great hot streak from Max Strus hitting 5 consecutive threes down the stretch against Dallas to win one of those games. Otherwise, they'd be 3-6. It's their defense that's been slipping, ironically, over that span. They're 18th in the NBA in defensive rating in their last 9 games. Number 7, the New York Knicks. After Jalen Brunson went down in pain coming off of that wide pin down action against the Cavs, it was like a low point for the season for Knicks fans, right? Like, you obviously Jalen Brunson goes down in the game. You're already down your entire front court. It's a big game, an important game against the Cavs that you feel like is winnable. It looks terrible, right? But then you end up beating the Cavs anyway, just a couple of weeks. Number 6, the Minnesota Timberwolves. 2 more clutch losses to the Kings and the Clippers this week. As we mentioned earlier in our Wolves breakdown, a 105 offensive rating in the clutch this season, which ranks 21st in the NBA. That's going to be the biggest question for them when we get to the postseason. Will they ever be able to diligently seek out the best possible shot in the slow down half-court environment at the end of games? Number 5, the LA Clippers, 2 in 1 week. They did lose to the Lakers in that crazy LeBron James comeback. But again, like I said after that game, sometimes LeBron just does LeBron stuff and you lose. But they did take a big step forward against Minnesota on the defensive end of the floor. Their defense has been what slipped a lot during this kind of mediocre stretch here in the last 2-3 weeks. That's that game against Minnesota. They got down into the mud and they slowed Minnesota down and they won with their defense, which I thought was super. Number 4, the Oklahoma City Thunder. It took a bad loss to the Spurs, where they really struggled with Victor Wembanyama, but they did bounce back with a really impressive win against the Suns last night. You know, I'm having a hard time with this team because, like, the stuff with their size and physicality and their lack of experience, or their size, I should say, not their physicality. They're a very physical team. The stuff with their size and their experience is just overarching basketball philosophies that I have and I truly believe in. And it still gives me a ton of reticence. But when I look at their combination of shot creation down the roster, the incredible physical brand of basketball that they play, the competition and the nastiness of this group, I think they're wired right. Like, I love their basketball character. I think they're super well coached. I'm having a really hard time with the Thunder because I've got this like voice in the back of my head, which is like, take them more seriously, take them more seriously, take them more seriously. So we'll see. I reserve the right to change my mind about the Thunder when we get to the beginning of the postseason. But right now, I just still lean back on my overarching basketball beliefs involving their lack of size and experience.
All right, weird things about Jason's standings. 1, he's got 6 teams in the East, not 5 and 5, unless I can't count and I'm fucking it up. But pretty sure he's got Orlando East, Miami East, Cleveland East, New York Knicks East. And then he's got Milwaukee East, Boston East. So 6 out of 10. That's weird, Jason. Should be 5 and 5. But if you were going to lopside it, why would you lopside it in favor of the East? If we're being completely honest and we're looking at this, who in the East has a chance to beat the top teams in the West? Boston and Milwaukee. That's it. Cleveland's not ready. Orlando's not ready. New York Knicks? No. Miami got lucky making it that far last year. Philly's got no Embiid and he can't win anyways. Indiana's too young. Chicago's awful, etc., etc. I don't understand why you would have 6 teams in the East. That makes no sense to me. So you got Minnesota, OKC, Denver, Clippers, New Orleans. Let's see, who is the lowest ranked team on your list? Orlando at number 10, 36 and 26. See, they got a winning record, but they play in the East. It's completely different. It's not the same as, say, a record like Golden State's at 32 and 28, or even the Lakers at 34 and 29. Dallas, why did you ever trade for Kyrie at 34 and 28? Those teams, even Sacramento up here, who we have less faith in for whatever reason, clearly since they're not even in your power rankings. Phoenix Suns didn't make the power rankings. All right, so we're going for the best record in the league. We're going to go right down. We got Boston made it, Minnesota made it, OKC made it as number 4. Makes sense, I guess. Denver, Milwaukee, Cleveland, Clippers, and that's where it stops. Then he doesn't have New Orleans on it, which I wouldn't either. Well, I'd have them over some of those East teams. Orlando's 36 and 26, but I don't trust them. New York don't trust them. Phoenix don't trust them. Miami don't trust them. Philly don't trust them. But these Western teams, even with the worst records, they have champions on them. And that's what I think is going to ultimately make a difference. Jason, you say it yourself all the time. You know, you need a champion. You need to break through. You need to know what it means to win. So Boston's never won. The only thing that helps them now is they do have a champion on the team with the addition of Drew Holiday. But you also leapfrogged. We're not there yet. I'm cheating. But you're number one. You have Boston, and you leapfrogged Denver and Boston over Denver, which you said you wouldn't do until proven otherwise. Because Denver won last year. They should be your number one power rankings all year until beaten. Plus, they're great. Plus, they haven't changed their team. They have all the same players. If anything, they've gotten better, and their role players have expanded their role across their starters and their bench. So Denver's better than they were last year. They should be number one in your power rankings. Minnesota, no winners. OKC, no winners. Milwaukee, they have Giannis. He's awesome. I probably would give them about a 40% chance of getting there, with Boston having like a 60% chance. Cleveland, almost no chance, sorry. The Clippers, the only reason they have a chance is because they have Kawhi, and he's I believe, a two-time champion. And they say in the NBA, winning helps you learn the path to winning again. So the Clippers are on your list. And number 5. All right, so here's how I have to rank it. Denver, number 1. They have a proven winner. Number 2, if you can take the second best team in the league that also has a champion, you got to take the Clippers. I know they're struggling a little bit right now. Or Milwaukee, as far as 1, 2, and 3. Denver, Milwaukee, then maybe Boston, since they do have a champion in Drew Holiday. And then the Clippers at number 4. But I don't think you're giving enough credit to the other, like Phoenix. KD has won. I know he was carried on Steph's back, but he is a 2-time champion. And then you're giving no chance at all in your top 10 to Golden State, who's been on a pretty significant run lately. I know they get trounced, whatever that word is. They got crunched, they got tossed, they got stomped by Boston. I get that, but they've stomped Boston in the past, so that's not the first time. Steph had one of the worst games of his entire career. It happens. So not having Golden State in your top 10, to me, that I understand they don't have a great record, but they do have a 4-time champion and a proven winner in Steph Curry. And LeBron is almost 40. But with Anthony Davis playing like this and staying healthy, I would choose either of those teams over Orlando, over Miami, over Cleveland, over New York, over Minnesota, over OKC. So my power rankings would include those teams.
It's number 3, the Milwaukee Bucks, a 3-0 week, albeit against an easy stretch of their schedule. 15 games of Doc Rivers. 109.6 defensive rating, which ranks 5th in the NBA over that span. Offense is still struggling a little bit, although it's been way better as of late. But they're at a 115 offensive rating since Doc took over. They can get that offensive rating back up to 120 while maintaining this level of defense. We have to move Milwaukee into back into that top tier of contenders, because everything we had talked about with them was based around their defense having severe limitations, and they've just been defending really well now for a stretch of the season, which really amounts to like about a fifth of the season. That's not a non-existent sample size, but a lot of tests on the horizon. Milwaukee's next 5 games against the Clippers at home, but then a road trip against the Warriors, the Lakers, the Clippers, and the Kings. That's a tough stretch. A lot of really high-powered offenses in that span. We're going to find out. And guard play, too. Clippers, obviously, with James Harden. The Warriors with Steph Curry. The Lakers with D'Angelo Russell and Austin Reeves. And then even going into Malik Monk and De'Aaron Fox. Although De'Aaron Fox missed their last game, and Malik Monk actually carried them to a win against the Wolves. But that stretch is going to put a big strain on their perimeter defense. We're going to learn a lot about the Bucks defense during that stretch. Number 2, the Denver Nuggets, 6-0 now out of the All-Star break. This time last year, this was where they let their foot off the gas. They were 5-1 out of the break, and then they promptly lost 5 of their next 6 games. So I'm really curious to see if they can keep their foot on the gas at this point and maintain. Big matchup with Boston this week that we'll be going live for. I think it's on Thursday night, so we'll be live on YouTube after the final buzzer of that game. But Denver, they look like the best version of themselves that they've ever been as of late, and I'm really, really intrigued. Because we talk about the checking boxes for championship contention. And like one of the big ones is like ramping up as you get into the postseason. It was one that Denver missed last year, and then they still dominated. It just makes me all the more confident in what Denver's capable of. I still think they're the best team in the league. Number one in our power rankings for regular season results, the Boston Celtics. Another undefeated week. They're on an 11-game winning streak now. And one of the big things, as I've been harping on all season, needed them to be more aggressive in the paint. They are averaging 60 points in the paint per game in their last 4 games, which is the third most in the NBA over that span.
What's up, guys? Thanks for watching. Let me know your comments. Let me know your thoughts. What are your power rankings? Who do you actually think can win a championship this year? Are there more than just a couple teams you believe in? Are there 5? Are there 6? What should the power ranking actually be if we're just counting actual contenders, not pretenders? I appreciate everyone here. Hit subscribe, hit the like button. Let me know what type of content you want in the future. And have an awesome night.